Hey everyone, it's John Ryan here with Solutions 8, and today we're going to be talking about if I spend more money, does my campaign start to produce diminishing results? And there's an odd kind of paradigm that takes place in the back end, and you've all experienced it because you've all done it, but where we need to implement the human action into what is Google Ads and how do people navigate around the web. There's a statistic that takes place that I see consistently that not a lot of people, I think, pay attention to, and so they don't factor that into if I scale, what happens. And what I mean is that on average, 1 out of 3 people take at least 2 ad clicks, not two visits to your website, 2 ad clicks before they convert. There might be more clicks than that. There might be 2 ad clicks, a social media click, an email marketing click, and then a purchase. But 2 ad clicks seems to be the common factor between about 30% of the traffic at least. I'll share with you what I mean. So in this campaign, in the last 30 days, if I look at tools and attribution, what you're going to find is, and here, last 30 days, 32% of our conversions had at least 2 ad interactions. Well, what about just like the last week? 35. It's more in the last 7 days. But what I'm saying is a common denominator, even if I go back a while, let's go back to like April 1st, was that metric for the last 2 months worth of data. And this isn't just in this account. And I apologize for Google being a little bit slow right now. But there we go, 33%. Again, it is very, I can't speak, it's statistically accurate and consistent that for whatever reason, we find that the people that are visiting will take either, a search click and then a branding click, or a search click, another search click, or a search click, then a remarketing click, whatever it may be. And they take time to come back. And not always are they Googling your branding when they come back. So what's an interesting paradigm is that if you start to spend more money, you'll actually start to show up for the second, third, and fourth visit from previous users who are more ready to buy. So sometimes spending more money, you get better results. I'll share with you what I mean here. I'll give you some examples. In the last 30 days compared to the previous 30 days, we started spending more. And what we saw is that we had total in the account 27% more spend. And we had 51% more conversion value with 50% more conversions. At a little bit less than or 10% change in conversion rate. Now that's plus up here, minus here, variation degrees. But you'll have 18% better ROAS. So not only did we spend 27% more, we made 50% more money. So our ROAS went up by almost 20%. Now, why? Well, if you have a smaller amount of spend and you want to show up for that first click, and let's say with that small spend, you have enough for like 10 clicks per day, you'll show up for the first click for those 10 people. And then on day 2, you'll have enough money to show up for the second, or for the first click for the next 10 people. But what about the person yesterday that wants to click again, and you've already had a small budget and you kind of tapped out? Now that person that's searching again, that still hasn't made their decision and would like to see you as well and come back and say like, yeah, I keep seeing these people and I need to reach out to them, buy it, convert, whatever it is. I need to engage with this company because I keep seeing them. You've hidden yourself on that next day. So when you look at the average time that people take to convert and how many clicks it takes to convert, as you start to spend more, not only are you going to be attracting a new audience, you're also available for the people who are ready to come back. I have a good visual for this as well. If you look at a long time period here, let's go back to like January 1. And we look in the Smart Shopping campaign example. You can click segment and go into conversions, go to days to conversion, and check this out. This is the day that is taken for them after the last click to convert. And you'll notice that 138 out of 216,000 are within 1 day. That's not too bad. That's what 60% of all my conversions value is happening within 1 day. But then, let's say 2 to 3 weeks later, you got 120 sales. 21 to 30 days later, another 110 sales from another like $9,000, $9,500. You can see that it takes a long time for these people to make a decision, and most of them are going to come back, and they're going to come back again. I'm on first click, by the way, so this is date of first click. You'll see that date of first click. Sometimes 2 to 3 months later, there's another 80 sales for $6,000. Now, if you have a small amount of spend, you can see sometimes that your spend kind of stops here. After 1 day and 1 to 2 days, people just don't come back anymore because you maxed out your budget. No one can find you when they're ready to come back. So what ends up happening is you kind of hide for the people who are most likely to convert. So what I see a lot of times is when you start to scale, not only in commerce, I'll share with you our campaign here. Even on lead generation, you see a 1 + 1 = 3, which means more ad spend and more time equals more leads at lower cost and a better conversion rate. And so I'll pull up our campaign. I just started to scale recently, and I wanted to shoot this video because we just started to scale. This is the last 3 days compared to the previous 3 days. you can see that my cost here went up 65% on my search network. I went from 477 up to 788. I spent $788 in the last 3 days. My conversions, with that 65% increase in spend, increased 300. It went from 1 lead to 4 leads. My cost per lead went from 477 down to 197. I went to just shy of 500 to now under 200. And my conversion rate went from 4.7 to 16%. Now, yes, this is a small time period. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to start to, I'm going to maintain that 16% conversion rate consistently. But what you saw is a 4.76% conversion rate. It's not terrible. It's not good. But when I spent more, my conversion rate went up to 16%, which is, amazing land. If that was a place, I'd like to go there someday. But that's where 16% conversion rates live, is amazing land. And all that means is that when you start to spend more, a couple things are happening. You're telling Google, the automated bidding strategy, whatever you're using, more data is for it to learn quicker. But a lot of those clicks that happened the day before also happened today, and I have money left over for them to come back because I'm not necessarily limited by budget, and those people will start to convert. So it's kind of like 2 days worth of sales in 1 day. So your conversion rate starts to increase because you have people that actually come back and convert. So that's what's really interesting, is not only if you look at this and say, well, if I have 4.76%, if I start to scale, that's not gonna pencil out right. Don't be surprised that as you start to put more money in, your conversion rate also increases. So now it becomes, the economy of scale. I'm getting more leads for less money. Well, less cost per lead, but more money, but more leads. But the ratio is, for $1 in a lead now becomes $1.50 for 2 leads, or $2 for 4 leads. You start to spend a little bit more money and you start to gain more leads. So just as a how does the economies of scale work in Google Ads, sometimes you can spend more money and get better results everywhere. So don't be afraid to test. Don't be afraid to scale. Just know that if you are running unlimited spend and you're afraid to scale because the conversion rate or the cost per conversion just doesn't look scalable, that can sometimes change quite a bit. This is John Ramos Solutions 8. Please let me know if you have any questions. Drop them in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your grandma, all the good fun things, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.